Big money, new maps, and the highest stakes in the country. From the race for Attorney General to the showdown for Senate, Battleground Texas is your front row seat. We're talking with the candidates, analyzing the data, and fact-checking the commercials. Don't just watch the news. Understand the strategy. The fight for the Lone Star State starts here. This is Battleground Texas.
Welcome, I'm Greg Grugan in Houston. Primary election day is now exactly 1 month away. Polling shows the race for U.S. Senate is a dead heat on both sides of the aisle. And now Democrat James Tallarico is facing criticism from a former candidate. Here's what started this. Dallas area political creator Morgan Thompson posted a video claiming that during a private conversation in January, Tallarico made a disparaging remark about Congressman Colin Allred. Thompson claims Tallarico said that he originally signed up to run for Senate against a, quote, mediocre black man, but was now facing a formidable, intelligent black woman, meaning Jasmine Crockett. Here's Allred's response.
First of all, let me just give you some free advice, James. If you want to compliment black women, just do it. Just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man. Okay? We've seen that play before. We're sick and tired of it. We're tired of folks using praise for black women to mask criticism for black men. That's not good for our community. Second of all, did you ever have a coach or somebody, a leader in your life tell you that when you make an accusation, you often have a bit of confession in it? Maybe you use the word mediocre because there was something creeping into your mind about yourself. Because I know you're not talking about somebody who's been better at 3 things than you've ever been at 1. You are not saving religion for the Democratic Party or the left. We already had Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock for that. We don't need you.
Ouch. Tallarico has flatly denied the racial intent, releasing a statement saying his words were mischaracterized. He claims he was calling Allred's campaign style mediocre, not the man himself, and that he has deep respect for Allred's service. We want to hear from you. Do you buy Tallarico's explanation? And don't just vote. Send us some comments. We'll read them here. Okay, let's bring in my colleague Stephen Dial in Dallas. Stephen, this is all unfolding on your turf, and you know both of these politicians, particularly Allred, pretty well. What are you hearing?
Greg, this has been consuming the political headlines, at least for Texas politics, in the last 24 hours. You and I both know Colin Allred is a pretty level-headed politician. Regardless of what you think his politics are, as a person, he's pretty level-headed. So it shocked a lot of us when we were in the newsroom and saw this video pop up yesterday morning. It had to have really upset him and really struck a nerve, clearly, posting a 3-minute video calling out a former person that he was running against, but a state representative and a Senate candidate. Now, it's not a shocker that he's supporting Jasmine Crockett, but the way he rolled out his support of her was a lot. And now we have to really talk about the elephant in the room, and that's race being injected in this Texas Senate race. Greg?
All right, Stephen, you heard all the scuttlebutt about the Crockett campaign possibly going negative. And then all of a sudden, boom, this pops up. Do you think they had it on board that this was really just breaking news, that this disparaging remark was made?
You know, yesterday night, I got multiple messages from people asking, well, was this the Crockett campaign colluding with Allred? You know, we won't know that answer. But again, going back to the type of person that Allred is, and, you know, some people saying that they thought his campaign could have been better when he ran last year, not being as aggressive, and people comment saying, where was this Colin Allred when he ran last year? And so I saw the news about, you know, Crockett possibly going negative. I don't know, and I don't think that this was them talking to each other. I think whatever in that video that was posted by that social media influencer, it really struck a nerve. And then in the Tallarico statement, he says that He didn't call him a mediocre man, but said his campaign was mediocre. And so the question is, will there be backlash? Jasmine Crockett is leading in the polls with African-American voters. Tallarico leading with Latinos and white men. And so it's really going to determine will some of those Tallarico supporters be turned off by these allegations.
Yeah, I mean, Jasmine already had 90% of the African-American vote. That may be 95 or 100 now. Agree? Yeah. All right.
I think so. Yeah, I think, yeah.
All right, plenty more to talk about on Battleground Texas, so please stick around. Welcome back. As it turns out, I recently sat down one-on-one with former 6th grade teacher and state representative James Tallarico to talk in depth about his bid to be the first Democrat in more than 3 decades to represent Texas in the U.S. Senate. Do you believe you can beat the Republican in November and Jasmine Crockett can't?
Congresswoman Crockett, I have great respect for her, but she's never been in a competitive general election. So I think we need a nominee who has experience building these types of big coalitions, these big tents, and flipping seats like this one.
Look, we've seen the polling. You're winning with Latinos. White progressives are picking you over her. Men are picking you over her. Why is that happening?
Well, you know, I think people from all backgrounds, all parts of the state, all communities, they're looking for someone who's going to take on the system itself. The reason politics sucks right now is not any one politician, it is the system. And all you got to do is look at who is sitting behind the President of the United States on Inauguration Day. Who controls the 24-hour cable news networks that treat news as entertainment? Who owns the algorithms that pit us against each other and keep us angry and divided? I think people are really hungry for a candidate who's going to take on this broken, corrupt political system that is tearing this country apart. And I'm building a people-powered movement to do that.
When I was 28, I almost died. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. When I picked up my first insulin prescription, it cost me $684.
Well, you're getting attention from the other side of the aisle because Senator Kolkhorst took a shot at you the other day, accused you of, I guess, kind of political stolen valor on the insulin pricing legislation. Any response to that?
Yeah, you know, I worked closely with Senator Kolkhorst to get that bill over the finish line, and you know, she thanked me for my work on that bill back when we passed it in 2021. Now that it's campaign season, she's decided to attack me for the bill that she once thanked me for.
You haven't gone negative on Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. But you're not going to turn the other cheek if she does.
We shouldn't be spending valuable time and resources tearing down our fellow Texas Democrats, especially when we have the Herculean task of winning in November. But if the Congresswoman insists on attacking me, then I will defend myself and our campaign will respond.
February 4th is a day that you had hoped would not happen because it's the day that Texas parents can start applying for so-called vouchers, school choice, whatever. You were one of the most ferocious opponents against that. Yes. Do you maintain that stance?
I do. This is a program that will take resources out of our underfunded neighborhood schools and give it to wealthy parents who already have their kids in private school. It is reverse Robin Hood. It is stealing from the poor and the working class and giving it to the rich. And so I'm against welfare for the wealthy, always will be, and I think we're going to see that play out as this program progresses.
In the ebb and flow of a political season, there are occasionally tipping points, even on the national level. Yeah. I'd like to hear what you think about the developments in Minneapolis and how they may impact your race in terms of energizing folks who may not have planned to participate in the primary.
ICE shot a mother in the face. ICE kidnapped a 5-year-old boy and shipped him all the way to Texas from Minnesota. ICE shot a man in the back on our streets in broad daylight. We should be cracking down on the cartels, not our communities.
All right, joining Stephen and I to discuss the intensifying Democratic battle for U.S. Senate is our friend, Houston-based writer and public policy advisor, Charles Blaine. Stephen, I'm going to start with you. We had heard Team Crockett was launching a negative assault on Tallarico. Do you think Colin Allred's brutal blast is part of that strategy or completely unrelated? I know I asked you about that before, but I want your opinion.
Yeah. No, I think it's unrelated. I think this was just an instance of Allred finally seeing that TikTok video, and I believe that video was posted January 12th. I think that was just him seeing the video and getting ticked off. I have not seen any negative ads or rumors other than that one story about there being allegation of negative ads by Crockett. So we'll have to wait and see. Early voting starts February 17th, so if she's going to do it, needs to do it soon.
All right, Charles, you are a pretty well-known conservative. Now, between Tallarico and Crockett, who do you see as the most formidable Democratic opponent come November, particularly if Ken Paxton is the Republican nominee?
I think initially a lot of people would have said Tallarico, but I mean, these comments against a core part of his base are going to carry a lot of weight. And we can't forget that in 2020 or 2021, following the state redistricting, James Tallarico moved into a black opportunity district because he couldn't win in the district that his district that was redistricted. So he moved into another one. A wealthy incumbent, a white incumbent, moved into this district and won. And I think that's probably going to come up as well. But I mean, Jasmine Crockett has her own comments, many of them from talking about 125th anniversary of a black church, saying that she didn't want to go back and change. She said to Hispanic voters at the border that they had a slave mentality. She said mediocre white boys were the only ones who were upset about her language. She called Governor Abbott Governor Hot Wheels. I mean, she's offended every single demographic group, and so I don't know who is going to be able to come out of this unscathed.
All right, Stephen, according to the polling, Tallarico is currently ahead in just about all the Democratic demographics except African Americans, where Crockett has a massive advantage. Question, is going negative even just through surrogates the right play for the Congresswoman to broaden her support, or should she not go negative at all?
I think just in politics in general, if you have someone else say something for you and you aren't saying it, you always have that plausible deniability. I didn't go negative. What other people are saying is what they chose to say. And when it comes to the demographics of voters in this primary, it's really in any election, it's going to come down to turnout. So if there are record or close to record number of African Americans turning out to vote, I think that could not bode well for Tallarico. And let me preface this by saying that does not mean every single black person is voting for Jasmine Crockett, but I think the numbers will be in her favor if there is a high black turnout.
All right, Charles, still buzzing hard across the political landscape is that shellacking Republicans took in that special state Senate race in normally red Tarrant County. Democrats are praying it's a harbinger of more winning to come. Are Republicans you talk to rattled, particularly by the sheer number of independents breaking against them in that race?
Yeah, they have been. I mean, I think it follows similar patterns that we saw in the Cy-Fair ISD race here in Houston a couple months ago, where well-known Republican incumbents lost because you saw that Republicans were breaking over to vote for the Democrats in that race. And so it's similar patterns up there. I think the statewide Republicans need to craft their own Texas strategy and stop letting the federal government lead what a Texas Republican should be, because it's clearly not working for those who are in the state. And so they should start showing what they are doing that is different than the federal government, that complements their the persona they want to put forward, because what we're doing right now is not working at all.
All right, we asked earlier if you buy Tallarico's explanation for his comments on Representative Colin Allred. Scan the QR code and let us know what you think. Ooh, let's see, 67% saying yeah, 33% no. Okay, up next, Republican Wesley Hunt taking heavy political fire for choosing the campaign trail over congressional votes. Stay with us.
Is President Trump announcing his run for president and me endorsing him that very night. Trust is taking an oath to defend America and serving in combat in the United States Army. Trust is a vow before God, raising our children to love our Lord and our country. Trust is having the most conservative voting record in Texas. Trust.
Make no mistakes, the gloves are off and the hammers are out on the Republican side of the U.S. Senate primary. Congressman Wesley Hunt under intense attack by the John Cornyn supporting National Republican Senate Committee, which pushed out this scathing ad labeling the former Army gunship pilot No-Show Hunt.
Wesley Hunt talks a big game about supporting President Trump.
My loyalty to the president and the America First movement is really important.
But when President Trump in Texas needed Wesley's vote to fund ICE and Border Patrol, Hunt left town. When Texas needed Wesley's vote to pay our troops, Hunt didn't show. When Texans needed relief from high housing costs, Hunt clocked out. When House Republicans needed every vote to advance President Trump's agenda, Hunt was a no-show. Wesley Hunt, a no-show for Texas.
When the enemy starts firing back at you in volume, it means that you are right over the target zone. The fact of the matter is that the NRC is attacking another Republican in a primary when clearly we are resource strapped and resource constrained. And so what that tells me is they are trying to do whatever it takes to protect their own.
Wesley Hunt doing his best to punch back. Charles Blaine, skipping House votes to campaign is pretty standard procedure during primary season. The complicating factor here is the razor-thin Republican House majority. Could this ad do damage to Hunt's bid for a shot in the runoff?
I think it could do some damage for two reasons. One, you just mentioned the razor-thin majority, which was made even more thin by the swearing-in of Christian Menifee yesterday. But also, Hunt's ads are saying that he's the most conservative vote, the most reliably Republican vote, and that's the one that is not there when Republicans need it. So that's tough to kind of swallow. But at the same time, while he's in D.C., that means that it's 100% of the time that he is not spending gaining another vote here in Texas. And then if he's in Texas, it's a 50% chance that he might lose votes because something important might come up. And so it's a gamble he's willing to make, and I think he has to as someone who's trying to raise his name ID.
Yeah, Stephen, Hunt makes the argument that Cornyn and his allies wouldn't be wasting so much of their ammo on him if he wasn't a genuine threat to knock out the incumbent. You buying that?
Hey, I'm starting to buy it because look at this. Okay, now the Senate Campaign Committee, they have a war chest, right, to spend money on races. You would not think that they would be spending a lot of money on a primary race. I know they're trying to protect Senator Cornyn, but none of these ads are going against Ken Paxton, who Cornyn says that is his biggest threat. Now, Cornyn, in a recent interview with us, also did say that Wesley Hunt is the reason why this is going to a runoff, and that likely can be true. The question is who makes it to the runoff. We already know Paxton will be in it, so we'll have to wait and see.
All right. Okay, we're going to go to our next break. Plenty more worthy of discussion unfolding all over Battleground Texas. Welcome back. Political scrapping and scrambling underway all over the Lone Star State, with plenty of scuttlebutt regarding the Republican loss in Tarrant County, particularly as it relates to independents. Now, for conservatives calling the outcome a one-off, I advise reading columnist Bill King's examination of favorability ratings for our state's top Republican leaders. Bottom line, they have absolutely plummeted over the course of just 1 year, from well above water to well below. Governor Greg Abbott from plus 21 to -3. Dan Patrick from +2 to -21. John Cornyn from +1 to -21. Get the picture. Republicans in bright red Texas have some serious work to do, with King suggesting they have veered so far to the right in pandering to their base, they have alienated independents. Stephen, what do you have?
Two things. One, I really want to know who will be the final two in the runoff for Attorney General. I know we will have one of the candidates on this week, but that's the race I'm looking at. And still, I'm going to go back to something we mentioned last week of Governor Abbott making endorsement against the incumbent in the Agriculture Commission race. And I know we'll have sheets on later this week for that. So those are two races that I am really looking at. That's all the time we have for today. To see this episode or any of our past ones for this month, go to our station's YouTube channels and keep the conversation going by interacting with us on social media.
And we sure hope you'll join us tomorrow when Republican State Senate candidate Wesley Hunt steps into Battleground Texas to make his pitch and defend his record. We'd also like to extend another friendly invitation to Ken Paxton to break cover and join us for a conversation. Vaya con Dios. See you soon.